Hello everybody, I'm Jeanette and welcome to my kitchen. You're visiting the Neal's Homestead. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite peppers, if not my very favorite pepper, Shishitos. A few years back when we were doing the farmer's market, we were vendors there, we had some people come through and say, do you raise and sell Shishito peppers? I had never heard of it before. But they asked me because we grew a lot of different varieties of peppers and they thought they might have a chance finding it at our stall. So I went home and I did some research about it, and the next year I grew Shishito peppers. They were very popular at the market and I started eating them myself and I fell in love with them. I did a little video a couple of years ago about a survey of our peppers. And in that video, I talked about Shishitos and a lot of other kinds of peppers. You might want to take a look at that video. Here we have Shishito peppers. They are a Japanese pepper that has gained very much popularity. Chefs are cooking them, and so young people who are aspiring chefs really like to buy these. Shishitos are fairly easy to grow. They do fairly well. They like a lot of water and they like a lot of sun. I had to start my Shishito peppers in February in the greenhouse because they take quite a while to grow, as most peppers do. I started the seeds in what I call hot dog trays. They're these little trays that have channels in them, and you put a seed starting mix in there, sprinkle your seeds, and then we have a germination table that has an electric heater in there, and I was able to start the seeds in that because pepper seeds like it to be warm, like 85 degrees, in order to get a good germination rate. I got them transplanted into little cells, and then we eventually let them grow so that we could get them into the ground. Now, over the past couple of weeks, they've been producing fruit. So I want to show you how I fix Shishito peppers. If you buy Shishito peppers already cooked in a restaurant, they're a little bit high, maybe $7 to $10 for an appetizer of Shishito peppers, and it's not very many that you get either. But they're really easy to fix. If you can find the Shishitos, if you can grow them, that's the best. If you can find them to buy at your farmer's market or even a grocery store, perhaps. This is what Shishito peppers look like. They can range from 2 inches up to like 3 or 4 inches, and they have a wrinkly looking skin that is very thin walled. They have only minimal of seeds in them, which makes it easy to eat, and you can just eat the whole thing minus the stem. You want to pick Shishito peppers when they're green. You don't want to let them get red because they still taste good, they're still very edible, but the skin gets like a toughness to it that the green ones don't have. So let me show you how I cook them and how they look afterward. You prepare Shishitos by cooking them in a really hot cast iron skillet. You can choose the type of oil that you want to use. What I actually use is lard. Because lard is something that I can produce here on my own property, I don't have to go to the store and buy it. When we butcher a hog in the winter, I save the fat and render it down to make lard. I don't recommend olive oil, butter, or coconut oil because they smoke at a lower heat, and butter especially burns. You have to get this really hot. Now, vegetable oil will work. I know there are some people who don't prefer to use vegetable oil because generally it's made out of GMO products, primarily soybean oil. So I will use just plain old lard. I'll turn my skillet on high. Of course, I don't want to go away and leave it and come back with the house burned down, but it takes a little bit of time for it to heat up. In the meantime, I've washed my peppers and they're ready to go. 1 out of every 10 Shishito peppers might be fairly hot. So you have a little bit of a risk, you know, kind of a gamble every time you bite one. Is it going to be hot Or is it not going to be hot? But the heat is not overwhelming, to me at least. I can tell by holding my hand over the bottom of the skillet that it's getting fairly hot. So I'll take my lard and I'll put in about a tablespoon. You don't need oodles and gobs of this. You just need a good coating of the bottom of the skillet. You want your oil in your pan quite hot, and you can see my lard is even smoking a little bit. It's recommended by some people that you poke a little hole into the shishito pepper so that it won't explode, because the pressure builds up inside of it and it explodes. But for this demonstration, I'm not going to poke a hole. I never have poked a hole, and we'll see what happens with it. They might explode on us. Now what you're going to do with these peppers is to keep stirring them. And the process that is called blistering them. You can see that the skin's already being blistered on here, bubbling up on and turning brown. You need to just keep stirring, keep them turned over, new side on the bottom. Now, we're probably going to have one explode here, which can be a little bit disarming because it can pop out. Whoops, one pop. It can pop up and burn you a little bit. It's my living on the edge that I get to do here by cooking my shishito peppers. Now this process doesn't take very long. And I believe they're done. I've got a plate ready. What I'm cooking here is a serving for myself. This is what I recommend for about a single serving of them, unless you want to share. And I prefer not to. When you cook these, you need to be ready to eat them because you don't want to let them sit around very long. I'm sprinkling some coarse salt over the top of them. The best flavor is while they're still hot, but just cool enough that you're not going to burn yourself. Some people use a dipping sauce made of a base of mayonnaise or sour cream or yogurt perhaps, with mixing some hot sauce in it, but I like to not cover up the flavor of the pepper and to just have the plain blistered pepper. It tastes so good. When these little peppers are barely able to be eaten, I'm ready to pop them into my mouth. They're so luscious. And you just eat the whole thing. There's a minimal amount of seeds inside there, but I just eat them all, and that's what you're supposed to do. Try to find a place where you can eat some shishito peppers. Grow them yourself if you can. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. That one's a little bit hot, but it's really good.
Just to be